Mama's in the living room watching Judge Judy. I'm in the kitchen eating leftover sushi, and she yells, "Oh, girl, you gotta hear this one." A man was arrested for running the theme park, and when they said, "Where's your license?" he said, "My dog ate it." Oh, you can't make this shit up. Sometimes I wonder if life's just one big cosmic joke. It's like she's on a Reddit, reading r/funny lawsuits, yelling from the couch. As she sips on a Prosecco, makes fun of all the weirdos, and then I hear her shout. It's like she's on a Reddit, reading r/funny lawsuits, yelling from the couch. As she sips on her Prosecco, makes fun of all the weirdos, and then I hear her shout, "Girl, you gotta hear this one." Mama loves to laugh at how absurd life is, says it's all a comedy and I'm her audience. And I love the way she makes fun of the world. She said, "You'll never guess what's with their girlfriend. It was a man who didn't get us out of the bed. He said, I've been through hell and now I need some help. You just can't make this shit up. You just can't make this shit up." Sometimes I wonder if life's just one big cosmic joke. It's like she's on a Reddit, reading r/funny lawsuits, yelling from the couch. As she sips on a Prosecco, makes fun of all the weirdos, and then I hear her shout. It's like she's on a Reddit, reading r/funny lawsuits, yelling from the couch. As she sips on a Prosecco, makes fun of all the weirdos, and then I hear her shout, "Girl, you gotta hear this one."
Welcome back, everybody. 5 years. Yes, 5 years after COVID and that whatever that shit show of a year was. Everything changed, but yet we are still arguing about what the public was and wasn't able to see. Tonight or today, depending on where you are in the world, we're not diving into internet conspiracy. I'm not playing political team sports. We're doing something much simpler. We're looking at actual documents because this isn't we're talking about the vaccine. No. To my YouTube overlords, I am not discussing efficacy. We're not discussing politics. It's about records. It's about transparency. And it is about what happens when government communications move outside of official systems during one of the biggest public health events in modern history. The Department of Justice recently unsealed an indictment involving a former senior NIAID official tied to allegations involving things such as deleting communications, private email use, where have we seen that before? FOIA concerns, and federal records preservations during the pandemic years. And before we even start, this is an indictment, not a conviction. These are allegations. That distinction matters. Although we all have our opinions, we still live in a country where we are innocent until proven guilty in a court of law, despite what the media wants you to think. And regardless of where you end up politically, one thing is true. Public trust breaks down when people believe information is either hidden, inconsistent, or inaccessible. And we've seen this with other files recently, or currently in the headlines, if you get my drift. So today we're starting with the DOJ press release and move into the actual indictment itself. The indictment is 29 pages. So we are going to break down what the allegations actually say, not what social media or the mainstream media says, if you've even heard about this at all, because this is not something that has been in the mainstream media. And if we have time, we're going to start talking about the bigger picture of how record laws work, federal documentation matters, and why transparency continues to shape public trust even years after the pandemic. All right. So if that is the kind of shit that you think you are interested in, without the spin, without the bullshit, straight to the point, and with a little snark, please hit that like button and subscribe to this channel. I am trying to make it up to 5,000 subscribers, and YouTube, every time I start to grow, keeps knocking me a peg back. So please help a girl out. How is everybody doing today? We are going to get into this. We are going to get into this. And Idol, thank you for being my super mod. Yes, follow me on Twitter or X or whatever, like whatever you want to call it. And sub to my other channel. I do have the link right there, or the QR code if you are on the TV. She has put the link in the chat. However, that is my ETM channel. Hold on one second. All right, that's better. My Elgato Wavelink Stream Deck app started, and I started getting an echo for no reason. It started on its own. Happy Monday and technology issues. Jeffrey, good to see you. Tammy, how are you? As always, Gail and Snipe, how are you? Nanny Clampett, are you dropping the like? Appreciate you guys. Anaya Print, good to see you. Hope everyone's having a great day. I hope you are having a great day as well. Roy, give the wife a hug for me. I hope you are doing okay and she is doing all right. Jeffrey, thanks for the $2 super chat. I'll chuck in a couple bucks to offset topic taboo. Yes, this topic, although we are not talking about, YouTube still gets a little wishy-washy on certain topics, even though I am not making this a political stream, because I really don't care where the hell you fall in the political spectrum. This is about truth and transparency, not about the BS. I have the receipts and scars of a lifetime diagnosis that will kill. Oh no. And Kerbless, thanks for being a member. I love the no bullshit squid. Yeah, it's kind of one, I don't have time to sugarcoat shit. And two, if you sugarcoat it, when you finally are honest, it comes off as a lot like you were lying to people. And I hate being lied to. I hate the bullshit of people acting nice to your face and talking shit behind your back. I don't subscribe or advertise or, any of that shit. I am who I am. I am the same person offline that I am online. And Janet, thank you for the $5. I'll help a girl out. I appreciate you so very, very much. Mama Squid in the house. DR to most. Little housekeeping stuff. The other channel, I did not do a live last night. Got 10 hours of sleep. Secondly, if you hate that I do housekeeping stuff or talk to my chat, live streams aren't for you. Are you new to YouTube? Is this your first day on the internet? I like talking to my chat. If you have a problem with that, fuck all the way off. Thank you very much. Also, things are happening in 3D worlds. I will be doing a stream on Thursday that was making up for last night, but also we are doing business planning because things are happening at the end of the month. I need to not formally present a business plan. She's not quite that formal, but I need to figure out exactly what I want to do because I will have one of her interns from Georgia Southern University to help me out with marketing and anything that I need in order to start developing my business plan in the real world and start doing corrective exercise and group all that stuff in the real world. So I will be doing a help me get myself focused and business planning stream sometime. It might be impromptu, but it will be over on ETM. because that is my business, that is my career, that's my college degree. Also, I am rehashing my entire book. Even though my certification is through NASM, I bought a new book so that I can rehash how to do my job. So, and hey, Stacy, how are you? And Kerbless, thanks for the $10. Yep, can only do this once a month. Squid is the only one I do this for. Kerbless, you are so sweet. I am so blessed to know that I have supporters. Yes, I am not everybody's cup of tea. I got a couple comments this morning. You have 20 minutes of shit and you still haven't got to the topic. Big fucking deal. Sucks to be you. Be impersonal and like an MSC. I like to be talked down to. Thank you. Yeah, I don't like to talk down to people. Fuck that shit. Like, no, I am not the smartest one in the room. Not on this channel anyway. Just don't do Crystal Peen's biz. The good thing about it is it will be under her business, her gym. So I won't have to start an LLC to do it. It will be an offshoot of her business. However, I have the knowledge and education in that specific area. So I will need to bring my skills and show what I can do. However, with that, obviously we all know from my YouTube-ish that marketing is not really my thing. So I've never seen streams where they have a topic and never talk about it or spend maybe 2 minutes on it. Yeah, honestly, it was a video from when I lived in the other house. So y'all know that like I was still a super baby YouTuber. Like I think I had less than 1,000 subscribers. I don't think I was monetized at this time. So to even, 20 minutes of shit is another more person's morning constitutional. Yeah. And it was also around the hurricane time. So like, I think I was barely monetized and people were asking me about the hurricane and I was answering questions. So it's funny. All right. So let's get to this after our obligatory 12 minutes of BS. Sometimes that's long enough for someone's morning constitutional. Sometimes it's not. Pooh and Doomsgirl. Yeah, but I do appreciate that person's comment and engagement. Thank you. On a 1.5 old video. Yeah. Oh my God. All right. So we are going to start with the actual DOJ press release first to know what they are even talking about. And this is from the end of April, but now only streaming 3 times a week on this channel. We might be a little behind on stuff, but I still have not seen any of this in the mainstream media. I have seen on YouTube, on certain channels that I follow, I have seen live coverage of congressional hearings on vaccines, information, things like that. However, even that is on like Reuters, not actual mainstream media or nobody covering it and giving their opinion on it. So in walks me, a salty sailor walks into a bar, and this is what we get. Yeah, wake me up when they're sent to prison. You'll be sleeping like Rip Van Winkle. I'm just gonna be honest with you. I detest people who tell me to get to the point. I find that incredibly annoying. I also think, even though I am far from perfect, I also think in the last 1.5 years, I have made leaps and bounds in the way I structure, in the way I get to the point, in the way I present information that I did not do when I was in my old house and when I was just learning to YouTube and live stream. I think I have made improvements. So it was the fact that it was over 1 year ago. It was the Mia Bailey documents. So if you want to go to the Mia Bailey documents video and check out the comments that were left, like the person wasn't rude in the sense that they didn't use any like harsh or They didn't use any language that I would be like, whoa, whoa, whoa. However, it was just, thanks for the engagement. All right. I have determined that there are a lot of annoying people out there. LOL, on here, over there, they sneak in everywhere. Yeah, you do. But you know what? If everybody everywhere was great, we wouldn't have anything to laugh at. So, and I know this is hard to see. Welcome to the internet. Is this your first day? We will try to make it bigger, but at the same time, welcome to the internet. Let's see if I can do this. There we go. That's a little bit bigger, but that's as good as I can do, people. Love you, Snape. All right. A former National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases employee is facing an indictment for his role in a scheme to evade FOIA requests in connection with COVID-19 research grants. David Morin, 78, of Chester, Maryland, is charged with conspiracy against the U.S., destruction, alteration, and falsification of records in federal investigations, concealment, removal, mutilation of records, and aiding and abetting. He served as a senior advisor in NIAID's Office of the Director from 2006 through 2022. These allegations represent a profound abuse of trust and at a time when the American people needed it most during the height of a global pandemic, said Attorney General Todd Blanche. As the alleged indictment, Dr. Morins and his co-conspirators deliberately concealed information and falsified records in an effort to suppress alternative theories regarding origins of COVID-19. Government officials have a solemn duty to provide honest, well-grounded facts and advice in serving the public interest, not to advance their own personal or ideological agendas. And I think the government and everything in general has become too much of I think this and not enough of I hate this, but this is the way it is. That's just my personal opinion based on being a government employee. And yes, I know I was military, but even at that time, when we would have to write things as to not hurt the pilot's feelings. I had a pilot write a MAF, which is a maintenance action form, that literally says, radio does not work, and I will never forget this. This is why I can remember it, and I can tell you, I will never forget this till the day I die. Does not work in OFF position. He spelled out OFF like O-F-F. I'm like, you have a college degree. And this is why I say just because you have a college degree does not make you intelligent. Because OFF is off. Of course your radio doesn't work when it's off. It's off, you dumb motherfucker. Can you understand now why I hate BS? And why, if I was willing to tell a fighter pilot that they were a fucking moron, doctors, lawyers, random fucking people on the internet, creators with over 100,000 people, don't fucking intimidate me. I was 19 years old and I told the fucking pilot that he was the dumbest motherfucker I had ever met. But I was not allowed to write that. I had to write it. So I wrote cycled power works as advertised per whatever manual it was supposed to be in. I could not write that no shit does not work when something's not supposed to work when it's turned off. I was not allowed to write that. Even back in 2005, I was not allowed to write that someone was dumb. We had to make someone feel good about themselves and that they weren't a complete fucking stupid. You know, when you have so many opinions about something and you're not allowed to say it per maintenance control and a master chief because he wants to make everybody feel good except for you, then you come out looking like the idiot It's like, no. The idiot is the pilot that told me a radio doesn't work when it's off and filed a formal maintenance action form, which required time, effort of me going out there looking at it, unplugging it, plugging it back, making sure that all of it worked, a minimum of 20 minutes, doing computer work to sign that off, getting someone above me to sign it off, sending it to maintenance control and having them sign off on it when there was no problem to begin with. This is why I hate stupid people. And this right here is why to the day I would die, does not mean that just because you have a college degree, you are not intelligent. Like, you are not intelligent. DEI hire. No. No. In the clouds, thank you. Love your content. Usually on replay crew, but able to listen today. Good to see you. And my schedule took another change. So my live streams will be Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I will be doing a live stream or a members only tomorrow on Tuesday because my in-person client has a appointment that was very hard to get and is a little bit more difficult to get than working with me. So we changed up things and I have Tuesday off from the first job. So I will be doing a members only. So have we figured out who the co-conspirators are yet? Haven't seen anything. Government witnesses. I don't know. I do have the actual indictment. So maybe something's in there. I have not read it. It's 29 pages. I've not read all of it. So we shall see if names are mentioned. However, hey, Lori. See, I'm here just in time for you to be talking about me. It's not that the government is bad, far from it. It's that people in it feel that they are the government and you must do as they tell you, whether you like it or not. The bane of the bureaucrat. Yes. There's too many non-elected officials thinking that they are entitled to tell people how to do things and what to do because they are a government employee. It's like you're a non-elected official. There's too many non-elected officials who think they have more power than they should. Just stop trying to schedule them. Well, I have ADHD in the sense of I have to have things scheduled. Otherwise, like, I will just do whatever I want. And if I have no structure, shit goes weird. So I have to have structure. It's not for y'all. It's for me. It's for me. Have a great day. All right. When public officials are circumventing record protocols with the intention of avoiding transparency is something that will not be tolerated by this FBI, said Kash Patel. Not only did Warrens allegedly engage in the illegal obfuscation, I hate that word, of his communications, but he received kickbacks for doing so. If you have engaged in activity conspiring against the U.S., we will not stop unless you face justice. When the public officials deliberately circumvent the law or hide their communications from the public, they undermine the public's trust and integrity of our institutions. This was especially true during the pandemic when transparency was needed most. And you will see me skipping this word occasionally because of YouTube. I still don't know what I'm allowed to say and what I'm not in regards to that. And I don't want to say it too many times because I don't want to get demonetized for just reading public documents. All right, said U.S. Attorney Kelly O'Hayes for the District of Maryland. Our office will continue to hold accountable those who seek to evade their legal obligations for their own gain. Public officials who disregard legal obligations undermine the transparency that keeps our federal program strong. The deliberate mishandling and concealment of records in federal investigation is not just a breach of duty, but a betrayal of public trust, said Special Agent in Charge Marcus Sykes of the Department of Health and Human Services Office of the Inspector General. OIG remains committed to working with law enforcement partners to ensure that anyone who seeks to evade the law is held fully accountable. And I like accountability. I like accountability. I'm a very by the book person, as you can tell. I like when it's supposed to be this way and it actually is. I do not like loopholes, people trying to skirt the law. It no. You took an oath to do a job, especially when you have doctor. Be it I don't know if that's medical doctor or PhD. However, you I have opinions and I'm just trying I don't know everybody has opinions on this, which is one of the reasons that I'm sticking to the facts because opinions are like assholes. Everybody has one and they all stink. Oh, I could go down the rabbit hole of with government and ideological subversion since World War II on to current big intel, J. Michael Waller, etc., or any winning series. Exactly. This and this topic is filled with rabbit holes. Like Swiss cheese rabbit holes. Yeah, we could go. All right. A senior advisor, Morin's counseled senior NIAID official 1 and other senior NIAID official staff on senior level policies, developed recommendations and solutions for issues impacting the NIH and wrote and edited manuscripts. Morin's also provided guidance and expertise to senior staff members in epidemiological studies and issues related to infectious disease, planning, and management. And this is one of the reasons that when we have looked at research on the other channel and we have gone into what constitutes biased research or research you can trust, you have to look at who's doing the studies. And you have to look at what their ideologies are. And I hate to say that, but unfortunately, people's biases will be input into a study, whether we like it or not. Additionally, Morin's gathered information from grantees and others in the scientific community to establish facts about the nature of this. This enabled Morin's to understand NIH and NIAID's historical activities in coronavirus research, assist in formulating policy and procedures, and brief senior official 1 so he could relay information to the president, Congress, and the public. According to the indictment, and we will get into this a little more, so we're going to skip part of this. Co-conspirator 1 and 2 and others conspired during the pandemic to defraud and commit several offenses against the U.S. after NIH terminated co-conspirator 1's grant. NIH terminated the grant understanding the risk of bat coronavirus emergence based on allegations that it emerged from the Wuhan Institute of Virology in Wuhan, China. NIAID awarded the grant to Company 1 and co-conspirator 1, who made a subaward to the Wuhan Virus Institute of Virology. And Harry, thank you for the $5 super chat and the telefunds. Thank you. The little will greatly appreciate that. Mr. Squid is home today. Because we are having work done on the house, mainly our shed installed, so we're put together. So if you hear stuff on this wall, the shed is literally being installed right here. With that, he is home today to make sure everything was going just fine, so the little is sticking by her dad, so you probably won't see her much today, which is fine with me. Because I try to keep her off camera as much as possible anyway. Hey, Cynthia, my migraine's got a vice grip on my head, so I'll mainly be listening. Well, I hope you feel better. Migraines aren't, yeah. I like picking on Squid sometimes, but I love all of them. It's a great way of being here. I appreciate you, Harry. Picking on me or not. Yep. Work day at the Squid house. Shed is being installed. Thank goodness. Maybe I can park in the garage now. All right. Following the termination, Morin's and co-conspirator 2 pledged to help conspirator 1 restore the termination of the grant to encounter the narrative that COVID leaked from a lab. All right. So we will get to the actual indictment because it has been unsealed, and I do have it. So we will remove this, and we will share this one. So we are not going to talk about this word for word because it is 29 pages and ain't nobody got time for that shiza. But I do have to I do have to make sure I have everything organized. There we go. All right. And girl needs water. Because it's 88 degrees outside. It is hot. Hot. Question of the day, does she end up with HVAC and turned into a stream office? It's not that big, but it will hold all of the stuff that is currently in the garage, minus the cleaning station for the freedom seed throwers. That will stay in the garage, obviously. However, we can actually use stuff. Wait, you paid for those? Everyone's quietly salute those pages. Yes, this is federal. This is U.S. versus Morans. This is another one of those PACER funds. So yes, this is PACER. Welcome to the world. Welcome to the world of PACER. All right, count one. And this was a grand jury, so this is not just charges. Although I know people have their opinions on grand jury actual efficacy and all of that stuff, which is an argument for another time. This was not just charges thrown up by a certain administration. This was grand jury recommendation. Count one, conspiracy. Background, March 13th, 2020, Trump declared a nationwide emergency because of the worldwide spread of then novel coronavirus SARS-CoV-2. Hereinafter, we're just going to refer to this as the pandemic. On or about March 15th, states began to implement restrictive measures to prevent the spread of the virus. We all know how well that worked. It just, from someone who has worked, I am not an infectious disease doctor. I am not even a doctor, but someone who has worked in a hospital with flu patients, with people with infectious diseases. What was happening around this time, people thought staying 6 feet away from someone else was going to prevent things. But cooping everybody up inside of a house together where you're in close contact was not going to hurt people. The logic was not there. The logic was not there. What do you mean security cameras? We already got those. You can't step 1 foot on this property without being recorded. Businesses were shuttered, schools were closed, and millions became sick. And over 1 million Americans died. And as the nation braced itself against the impact of the pandemic, it sought answers about the origin of the virus and how it could be prevented and treated. The pandemic had a profound impact on the U.S., and the records generated by its agencies and employees responsible for leading the nation's response to the virus had a significant historical, institutional, scientific, medical, and public value. As explained, Moran's co-conspirator 1 and 2 and others defrauded and committed offenses against the U.S. by hiding from public view various federal records related to this significant historical event. National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases was an agency of the U.S., part of the NIH, and a component of the Department of Health and Human Services. It played a leading role in the national response to COVID-19. It was responsible for identifying and responding to emerging public health threats. NIAID, through its leadership of the Office of the Director, provided public health guidance and informed the public about the nature, origin, and effects of the pandemic. Office of the Director was located on the NIH's main campus in Bethesda, Maryland. Don't care about his history. However, Roy, you'll love this. He was a federal employee from 1979 to 82 and 98 to 2021. Warren served in the U.S. Public Health Service and ultimately reached the rank of captain from 83 to 1998. He was in the U.S. Army Reserves, where he reached the rank of lieutenant colonel. Once again, just because you have a college degree doesn't make you intelligent. So we can blame the Army. From in or about 2006 through December 31st, 2022, Warren served as senior advisor to senior NIAID official 1 in the Office of the Director. So just how bad we're going to get to that over the next few weeks, because there has been congressional hearings on certain things related to the years 2020 through 2023 or 2024, including health effects, long-term health effects from the Fauci ouchie. He was supposed to provide guidance and expertise to senior staff members on epidemiological studies and issues related to infectious disease planning and management, including those involving issues of significant importance to the public, Congress, and scientific communities. All right, so we're going to get to Co-conspirator 1 was the president and CEO of Company 1 from January 2009 to January 2025. Co-conspirator 1 was a resident of New York. So they're not telling you who this is, but I'm sure there's some internet sleuths out there, me not being one of them, because that takes effort of someone who I just really don't care about. I'm sure someone could piece together, based on this information, roughly who this is. Company 1 was a nonprofit organization headquartered in New York, with a stated mission of protecting people, animals, and the environment from emerging infectious disease. Through Company 1, Co-conspirator 1 reached the origins, transmissibility, virality, and impacts of potentially emerging infectious diseases, including those associated with coronavirus originating from animals like bats. In a notice of award dated May 27, 2014, NIH and NIAID awarded grants number this. See, like they're not giving this person's name, but they're giving enough information about this person that you can easily do a Google search on this notice of award and such. Whoever wrote this, even though they weren't allowed to give the name, they weren't trying to keep this person's identity a secret. Awarded grant number understanding the risk of bat coronavirus emergence to Company 1. Co-conspirator 1 was the project director, principal investigator for the bat coronavirus grant. The Wuhan Institute of Virology received a subaward from Company 1 on the bat coronavirus grant. Interesting. Co-conspirator 2, an individual known to the grand jury, was a physician, scientist, and professor who worked for an academic institution that also received grant monies from the NIH, but not for bat coronavirus grant. Conspirator 2 was named as co-investigator with co-conspirator 1 on a grant application related to emerging infectious disease research centers filed by Company 1 in June 2019. Just to be clear, this indictment does not discuss the merits or harm of the vaccine, but the government workers intentionally hid facts about it. Yes, it's not so much what it's not so much this doesn't discuss what information. This also doesn't discuss what the government thinks of the information. This is just that information was hidden, not produced, destroyed, and also not given up in FOIA requests, from what I understand. But we'll get to more of that in a little bit. So, Federal Records Act, preservation of federal records is crucial to accountability and transparency. Federal records hold informational value and document the transaction of public business, functions, policies, decisions, procedures, and the operations of the organization. Congress enacted the FRA in 1950. It governs the creation, management, and disposal of federal records by agencies. A record encompasses all recorded information, regardless of form or characteristics, made or received by a federal agency under federal law or in connection with the transaction of public business, and preserved or appropriate for preservation by that agency. In accordance with federal law, HHS established safeguards against the removal or loss of federal records determined to be necessary and required by the regulations of the National Archivist. The safeguards included making it known to officials and employees of the agency that records in the custody of the agency are not to be alienated or destroyed except in accordance with applicable law, and the penalties provided by law for unlawful removal and destruction of records. Federal law prohibited an officer or employee of an executive agency from creating or sending a record using a non-official electronic messaging account unless an officer or employee copied an official electronic messaging account of the officer or employee in the original creation or transmission of the record. Don't use your private email. Don't use your private email. Forwarded a complete copy of the record to an official electronic message account of the officer or employee not later than 20 days after the original creation. NIH provided yearly training on its employees' obligations with respect to the FRA, including, according to the training Morans received, the interactions between NIH and its staff with the public and other federal agencies are also captured through federal records. Found the grant allocation. I put a PDF in chat. Thanks. And we'll probably get to that stuff next Monday, because this is going to be a multi-part. This is not going to be a one and done stream. This is going to be who knows how long this will be. This could be months. Morans was instructed that if information or materially facilitated agency business, then it was a federal record. He was instructed that if he was not sure if a document was a federal record, then he should consult a record liaison. What is my... Morans was also informed that federal records could be in any form or medium, such as electronic formats. Federal records were the property of federal government. Employees were required to store federal records in an agency-approved record-keeping system. Email records were required to be created, sent, or received using an NIH email account, not a Gmail. Government was trying to copy the movie Outbreak, but forgot to have the treatment ready before the virus escaped. Yeah. Morans was further informed about records were only considered personal files if the materials were not used to conduct agency business. Personal files included materials created outside an employee's responsibilities and work at NIH. Personal files were also required to be kept separate from federal records. The holding period for emails was generally 7 years. So you weren't supposed to delete things. All right, FOIA. The basic purpose of FOIA is to ensure an informed citizenry vital to the functioning of a democratic society, need to check against the corruption, and to hold the governors accountable to the governed. FOIA provides that any person has the right to obtain and access federal agency records, except to the extent that such records are protected from public disclosure by one or more of 9 exemptions or by one or more of 3 special law enforcement record exclusions. FOIA thus established a statutory right of public access to executive branch information in the federal government. Seems logical, right? So this case, in short, is not really about vaccines. It's about what happens when federal records move outside of public systems and what happens when you do things with public records that you are not supposed to do as a federal employee. HHS implemented FOIA for HHS records, implementing regulations for FOIA. 45 CFR Part 5 set forth the process by which records could be requested and the reasons why some records were exempt from disclosure, and the administrative and legal remedies available should a requester disagree with the initial disclosure determination. HHS administered FOIA with a presumption of openness. Regulations called for the disclosure of records or information, even if exempt from disclosure under FOIA, whenever disclosure would not foreseeably harm an interest protected by a FOIA exemption, and disclosure was not prohibited by law. Oh, hey, we got a Kofi. And the Kofi bot worked. Ninja puppy. Ninja puppy. Let's see what. Ninja puppy, thanks for the $10 Kofi. You are amazing. You are so amazing. I appreciate you very, very much. Let's see what it said. And I'm glad the bot worked. See, I have upgraded things. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Thanks for the $10. Help with the Pacer bill. Appreciate that. Oh. All right. FOIA officer was an HHS official who had been delegated the authority, among other things, to release or withhold records in response to a FOIA request. Pursuant to regulations, only FOIA officers have the authority to release or withhold records and to waive fees in response to a FOIA request. A FOIA officer for NIAID was responsible for receiving FOIA requests, distributing FOIA requests to personnel likely to have responsive records, affected personnel, instructing affected personnel to conduct searches for materials responsive to FOIA requests, monitoring and receiving returns of such information, and recommending FOIA exemptions for certain responsive records. See, he does exist. A FOIA request meant a written record that reasonably described the records sought under the FOIA provisions. The scope of a FOIA request could be narrowed through negotiations and agreement between a FOIA officer and a requester. All right. Multiple FOIA requests sought information and communications concerning Morin's Company 1 and Co-Conspirator 1. Between April 2020 and December 2022, they received hundreds of FOIA requests related to COVID-19. Of those requests, many sought access to communications involving Morin's Company 1 and or Co-Conspirator 1. But not limited to the following: Judicial Watch, Science Magazine, An Individual, U.S. Right to Know, Whistleblower Protection Project, Heritage Foundation, and an individual. January 2020 to March 2020. Beginning January 2020, Morans and co-conspirator 1 began communicating about the emerging coronavirus. On or about January 9th, Moran sent an email using his NIH official account to co-conspirator 1 and the others to inquire whether they had any inside info on this new coronavirus that isn't yet in the public domain. That same day, January 9th, co-conspirator 1 responded that he had lots of information and referred to Company 1's coronavirus grant specifically focused on China. Sometimes things that just make you go, It, I just look at this and I'm just like, if it walks like a duck and it talks like a duck. And the thing about this is not getting political. However, I have learned from being a government employee not to trust when people tell you shit at face value who are government officials. So when people would take this and say that who have never worked for the government, never been a government employee, never seen things or heard things, trust the government 100%. I'm like, are you intentionally stupid or are you just willfully walking around with your head in the sand? Are you stupid on purpose or is this an accident? Were you dropped on your head as a baby? And this is being a government employee, be it I was military, so you can take that one with a grain of salt. I don't trust government officials as far as I can throw them. This goes anywhere from my local school board to the president. I don't trust the motherfucker as much as I can throw them, and I ain't that strong. So the people that trusted the government 100% and what the government was telling you was accurate, especially people who worked in healthcare, who were just supposed to trust people instead of questioning things, when your whole job is based on questioning shit. And then all of a sudden you started believing people and not questioning anything was just freaky to watch. And one of the main reasons I will never work in mainstream healthcare again. Oy. On or about January 27th, co-conspirator 1 emailed a bullet point about Company 1's bat coronavirus grant to Morans at his NIH email account. Conspirator 1 stated at the beginning of his email that he was providing this information so Morans might relay it to Senior Official 1 for public use, stating a few things for your information, hopefully to pass on to that official for when he's being interviewed. Same day, on about January 27th, Morans responded from his NIH email account, I will pass this on, then emailed information provided to him by co-conspirator 1 to Senior Official 1, or through Senior Official 1's chief of staff. Beginning February 2020, Morans wrote about coronaviruses as part of his NIH duties. So far, doesn't seem like a lot. Doesn't seem like much. Hey, do you have any information? Yeah, I have information. Here it is in case he's being interviewed. Totally, at this point, sounds legit. And I'm wondering if they included this so that they can show the difference. I'm not sure. But maybe they're including this is to see this is what normal communications look like. And then this is what his communications later looked like. This is what normal communications looked like. This is what later you can see the difference. You can see what's normal and you can see what's not. I don't know. This is just my my guess based on why they would have included this. Morans used his NIH email to participate in an email chain with conspirator 1 and colleagues to suggest publications on topics related to the outbreak of C-19. This included, according to an email from Warrens to co-conspirator 1 and NIH employees, timely commentaries about key aspects of the situation that are from 30,000 feet, broad perspectives, and publishable either in journals willing to publish quickly or in key newspapers or other media. I have a good brain. I'm not sheeple. I'm retired from healthcare, and I only believe what I had proof of in my seen results. Are you on my other channel? Because that you sound like me. I take things with a grain of salt unless I've seen it. And even in the research, sometimes I'm like, that's what the research says in a controlled environment, but that's not what my clinical experience says. Especially with the hyperbaric chamber. That's where I'm at with that. Sidebar. Between February and March, Morans and Conspirator 1 authored and co-authored articles and commentaries about the pandemic. Their correspondence, including those discussed above, occurred using his NIH email account. They're also establishing that all of these emails were supposed to be public because you use your NIH email account. They are government records, FOIA-able. Hey! Looks like redistricting Georgia will fix a lot of y'all's issues. I hope so. I don't know. The redistricting stuff is weird for me because, like, if you look at certain redistricting, it's like, why is an area like this? Why do we have spaghetti districts? That's always weird to me. That's always screams hinky to me. Spaghetti districts. And if you all don't know what spaghetti districts are, when I describe them, it's when you have a district that instead of looking like an area, like at the corner of the state, it goes through a long area of the state and hits a rural area and a highly populated area at the same time. So you can make the highly populated area that normally votes one way and the rural area represented by the same person, even though they probably would be represented by different people and different sides of the coin. Yeah, if you look at Illinois is a good one for that, around Chicago. Virginia, and their latest attempt at a map, is another one where you have the corner of the state in 5 different districts or 6 different districts. I can't remember. But yeah, it's all weird. It's all weird. On or about April 19th, NIH issued a letter notifying Company 1 that it was reviewing allegations that the Wuhan Institute released the coronavirus responsible for the pandemic. While it reviewed the allegations, NIH instructed Company 1 to cease providing any funds from this grant to the Wuhan Institute of Virology. And if you look back in public records, you will be able to figure out what company this grant was issued to. I believe I have the website saved somewhere. I think it's in here. Resources. I have to find it, but there's a website that is literally like usaspending.gov or something like that, where you can literally see all the places where the US spent money. And it's so freaking, it's where when I was doing those government spent what streams, I was getting some of my information. Because it's a government website. It's hard to navigate and you have to really do some research. But if you figure out the research, or if you can find what you're looking for, it's a very eye-opening. It's very, very eye-opening. Georgia has a congressman that thinks if we build a base on the island of Guam, it might tip over, and he has been in office in many years. Yeah, well, there was also, I don't know if it was Georgia, but there was a state senator from somewhere who thought coyotes crossing over the border were actual animals carrying people. So, I, oh, oh, yes, yes, yes. And I'm sorry. Sometimes since I see names on both channels, sometimes my brain gets confused. I'm on a peptide protocol that's actually helping with my cognition, but no. No. Thank you for your patience. Mr. Squid just came in here and said, "She in here with you." He lost our daughter. He didn't really. She was sitting somewhere and he didn't see her. But this is the same man that sometimes will open the refrigerator and say, "Have you seen something? If it was a snake, it would have bit him." No, she was standing outside and she was standing right where he didn't see her. And he didn't look. Anyway. April 24th, there was an email sent notifying co-conspirator 1 that NIH had elected to terminate the grant. Co-conspirator 1 forwarded the termination letter to co-conspirator 2 the same day. Okay. Mommy, Dad. Oh, hey, hon. Never mind. Had applied NIH funding for an emergent infectious disease regional center grant worth in excess of $7 million. Yes, you have Daddy's phone. I see. The grant had not been awarded. Conspiracy and its objectives. Beginning April 2020 and continuing on about June 2023, the defendants knowingly and willfully conspired with co-conspirator 1 and 2 and others to the grand jury to commit offenses against the U.S., violations of 18 Code 1519, knowingly destroyed, concealed, and covered up a record, document, and tangible object with the intent to impede or obstruct the influence of the investigation and proper administration of the matter within the jurisdiction of the Department of Health and Human Services, NIH, and National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Disease Department and agencies of the U.S. in relation to or contemplation of such matter. Hold on. I gotta turn this down. There we go. Oh. BB. Hey. Yeah. She's a big girl. Are you a big girl? Mm-hmm. Yeah. True. She wasn't. She was standing somewhere and he just didn't see her. All right. Commit offenses against the U.S., namely to commit violations of 2071, willfully and unlawfully with the intent to take, conceal, remove, mutilate, obliterate, and destroy, and attempt to do so, a record, paper, document, and thing filed and deposited with any public officer of the U.S. Okay, kiss. Mwah. I love you. Thank you. Okay, I'm gonna go by Daddy. Okay. All right. Whew. I don't know. Are you putting Miracle Girl on her? Were you trying to keep her little? I am not trying to keep her little, but I just get pictures, like memories on my phone of like a year ago, and I'm like, it's so big. Uh, yeah, and in all actuality, 9 times out of 10 when that happens, actually 10 times out of 10, she's within eye shot. She's just standing behind something. I just wanted to go make sure. To commit offenses against the U.S., violations of 18 U.S. Code 201, co-conspirator 1, a federal grantee, direct and indirectly gave, offered, or promised things of value to Morans, a public official who directly and indirectly demanded, sought, and received, accepted, and agreed to receive or accept anything of value. Basically, bribery. Is provided by law for the proper discharge of his official duties for and because official acts performed and to be performed by Morans for co-conspirator 1 and company 1. And defraud the U.S., that is, to hamper, hinder, impede, and obstruct by craft, trickery, treachery, deceit, and dishonest means the lawful and legitimate functions of DHS, NIH, and NIAID in complying with the Freedom of Information Act and the Federal Records Act. Like, it just, this concealment, manner of means, Morans and the co-conspirators. I'm just going to refer to them as the co-conspirators because it's quicker. And others known and unknown to the grand jury used Morans' personal, non-governmental issued email accounts to create, transfer, and exchange federal records pertain to Morans' responsibilities as a senior advisor. Federal records created, transferred, and exchanged via Morans' personal, non-governmental issued email address include the following types of record: work product, records concerning efforts to influence NIH to fund Company 1, records concerning Company 1, that coronavirus grant termination, reinstatement, suspension, and subsequent negotiation, including the drafting and editing of statements and responses on behalf of Company 1, records concerning public writings on the origin of the virus, records concerning congressional oversight of NIH and its grants related to COVID-19, records concerning Morans' access to senior NIAID official 1 and his use of that access to convey information on behalf of Company 1 to influence senior NIAID official 1, Morans and co-conspirators and others concealed, removed, destroyed, and caused concealment and removal of federal records to evade FOIA and the FRA. They concealed their communications so that they could utilize Morans' stature, connections, and access within the scientific community as a result of his position to advance the interests of Company 1 with the NIH, NIAID, scientific community, and publicly. They concealed their communications so that they could communicate with others in the scientific community in support of Company 1 and published papers, articles, and other writings supportive of Company 1. And this is why you can't always trust. This is one of the reasons, not the only one, but this is one of the reasons that you can't trust research as written without doing a little investigation on who the authors are. Because sometimes studies are conducted with an outcome already in mind, and they will twist the controls or the facts to get certain outcomes related to what they want for grants. Does this not always happen? However, it is one of the things that you have to be aware of, and why when you are looking at research, not all research is trustworthy just because it's published. Unfortunately, this is the world we live in. People are shady. Even people who are supposed to be highly educated and scientists. Hey, King Bob, how are you? But without directly including co-conspirator 1 in the communications or as a contributor to the papers to generate the appearance of disinterested scientific consensus and avoid the necessity of declaring competing interests. Yeah, they policed the use of Morin's government-issued email account by reminding Morins to avoid communicating using his government-issued email and explicitly requesting that those contacting Morins do so through his non-government-issued email to avoid exposing their communications to FOIA requests. Like me. Thanks for being a member for 19 months, and 2, congratulations. Things have been crazy. Congratulations on your daughter. How is dad life besides crazy? It's so good to see you. I've missed you, but I know that you've had, 3D world. Oop. Perfect. And Jeff, thank you for Jeff Grady, thank you for emailing me. I will look at that email, and that will be one of the next things that we address. Morins and co-conspirators. Oh my goodness. Emailed information to Morins at Morins non-government issued personal Gmail account. Okay, not only are they using a personal account, but they can't even use like a secure one like Proton Mail. They used a freaking Gmail account. Like, no offense to Google, but like if you're gonna do some shady shit, use a Proton Mail account. To relay senior official 1 while instructing Morins to use means of communication that would not be discovered in a FOIA search. And the funny part about it is they wrote this all down. If you're going to tell someone, if you're going to be stupid enough, let me clarify, to tell someone to do something that won't be searchable via FOIA request, do not write it down and send it to them. Do that person to person, over the phone, somewhere that cannot be written down and prove that you said it. There is no receipt. There is no paper trail, because every email is a paper trail. Every text message, every DM is a paper trail. This is the ego of the bureaucrats in government, that they think they are so above crap that they are going to get away with this. They don't even bother to hide the communications. Yes, they use non-government email to hide from FOIA, but like they write shit down. Okay. Like, I just, they shared facts. Sorry, I lost my place. They shared facts, press reports on the origin of COVID-19 and Company 1, information regarding the administrative proceedings on the BAT coronavirus grant, and information regarding congressional inquiries and activities related to COVID-19 and the BAT coronavirus grant. Information regarding the draft and publication of articles, editorials, and letters. Information relating to FOIA requests. They and others, known and unknown, share the material and information to anticipate press reactions, develop talking points, and coordinate responses. Hence the conspiracy. Conspirator 1 provided and promised to provide Morins with things of value, and because of official acts, behind-the-scenes shenanigans, that's in quotes, by the way. I want to cry. It's quintessential. Favorable to co-conspirator 1 and Company 1. Co-conspirator 1 and Morins concealed their conduct by communicating via Morins' Gmail account and sending items to his residence. What? Moorens received and agreed to receive things of value from conspirator 1 for or because of official acts favorable to conspirator 1 and company 1, including in behind-the-scenes shenanigans. The fact that behind-the-scenes shenanigans is in quotations, I don't know whether to laugh or cry at that. How absolutely freaking ridiculous. They concealed their conduct by communicating via his Gmail account and sending it to Morin's residence. It's like, okay, so this just screams intentional. And this is not oops, I forgot, or oops, I didn't use my official email. I was working from home and oops, I used my Gmail account on accident. There is a legal difference between poor organization and intentional concealment. And the distinction matters. And like I said, the fact that shenanigans was in quotations screams intentional concealment to me. And that is just some shady crap. And I'm really glad that it's being brought to the surface. I had not heard about this in the mainstream media. This was sent to me. The press release was sent to me, and I went looking for the indictment because that's just what I do. And hey, Curblist, have a great day. Snipe Hunter when doves cry. Oh my goodness. So, overt facts in furtherance of conspiracy and to the effect of objects thereof, at least one of the co-conspirators committed or caused to be committed at least one of the following overt acts in the District of Maryland. Plotted to conceal federal records to avoid FOIA. They exchanged emails and took actions directed in whole or in part towards ensuring written communications between them related to government business would not be available to respond to any applicable FOIA requests. The conspirators accomplished this objective by keeping discussions related to Company 1, Conspirator 1, the grant, and other government business on Morin's Gmail accounts. Set forth below are select communications where Morin's, Conspirator 1 and 2, and others expressed their intent to conceal their correspondence to avoid public disclosure via FOIA of their communications. They wrote it down. They wrote it. How effing stupid do you have to be? Oh my goodness. Yeah, I would love to talk to him. Unfortunately, he doesn't respond to DMs or emails. So I'm too small of a creator and I don't matter. So there's that. But yeah, I would love to talk to him about some of this stuff because he's a really good source of information. However, I don't watch his streams because I don't ever want to be accused of copying someone's or stealing someone's content, because everything I do is my own, like, someone sends something to me that I find interesting and I talk about it. However, I would love one day to collaborate. However, in order to do that, he actually has to give 2 flying Fs about what I think, and he just doesn't. But I appreciate the thought and the idea, because I've had that same idea. So there's a bunch of people who I have a bunch of questions for, larger creators than me, not in the sense of like trying to grow my channel through them, because I really I care, but I don't care. Growing my channel is like an after effect of having good content. However, I just have questions for them because they seem like really interesting people to talk to. Jumpsuit Pablo would be another one in the true crime community of like, I have questions for him. However, he's another one where you reach out to him and he just doesn't respond. He's been burned by a smaller creator. So like, I get it, but I get why larger creators don't want to respond to smaller creators. But at the same time, it's like, I could care less how many fucking followers you have. I just have questions for you as a person. Yeah. Because to be honest, if my other channel gets monetized, that one is going to be the main source of content. This one will be, because I have content for years on that channel. So, all right. Except for specifically indicated, the following emails were all sent or received by Morins exclusively at his Gmail. On or about April 25th, after learning about the cancellation of the BAT grant, Morins forwarded his communications with Conspirator 1 and 2 from his NIH email to his Gmail account. Morins then emailed Conspirator 1 and 2 stating, "This is sent from my Gmail account. Please send all replies to Gmail. There are things I can't say except so-and-so is aware that I have learned that there are ongoing efforts within the NIH to steer through this with minimal damage to you, co-conspirator 1 and colleagues, to NIH and NIAID. Emphasis added." Jesus. April 26th, Conspirator 1 wrote to Morins and Conspirator 2 with copies to others, including Company 1 staff, stating, "David will communicate with you via Gmail from now on." See, that right there, if anybody asks me to communicate via a certain thing, that's just shady to me. Like, that screams shady, and like, no. April 28th, Conspirator 1 in an email titled, "More FOIAs on their way. It's time for NIAID," included emails to us, wrote to Morins to alert him about a group targeting Senior Official 1 and looking for email to us and others. Morins responded by thanking Conspirator 1 for the heads up, stating, "We all dread these FOIAs and they take up so much time." If they take up so much of your time, well, it sucks to be you. Welcome to being a government official. Maybe being a government official is not for you if you hate responding to FOIAs. And this is not just related to this person. This is just PSA to all government officials. If you hate responding to FOIAs, FYI, no one cares. Do your damn job. Suck it up, Buttercup. If you don't like it, find a different job. If anyone was a conspiracy nut, if we thought it came from the giant lab in the city it originated in. Yeah, especially when there's a BAT grant. Shady and illegal to conduct official government-related business outside FOIA rules. Yeah. Just a little. It's almost like, I'm not going to say that because that's snarky even for me. May 3rd, 2020, Morins emailed members of a prominent professional medical organization. And this is why people don't trust their doctors. Shit right here. This right here. Mark it right here, page 15 of this indictment. May 3rd, 2020, Morins emailed members of a prominent professional medical organization to enlist them in speaking out on behalf of co-conspirator 1 and company 1 because of the termination of the BAT coronavirus grant. This is why people don't trust doctors. This is not the only reason. 10 years of being told that my anxiety was causing all these weird symptoms when it was really my brain falling out of my skull. That's a story for another day, but case in point, you're emailing a professional medical organization to enlist them to get on your side. I have to get the little for a second. I will be right back. Mama Duty's engaged. That was the best advice right there. Not happy in your job, get another job. Time is really short. Yeah. I mean, like, it seems like it's so easy, but you bitch about FOIAs when you're a government official subject to FOIA requests. Either watch what you say in your emails, and if you're going to be shady and talk shit, do it in person at the water cooler, not in a fucking email, or find a different job. But these people are also very highly overpaid for what they actually do, in my opinion. All right, the email stated in part, colleagues, I need to keep this correspondence off USG emails for obvious reasons. So I'm sending email from Gmail. I'm under multiple FOIAs already. And Conspirator 1 is facing orchestrated death threats. We, Conspirator 2 and I, have advised Conspirator 1 to lay low, not to go to the press, work through NIH to get a face-to-face meeting, and let others come to his defense. On or about May 15th, Morans emailed Conspirator 1 falsely stating that the FOIA official had told Morans that he could cover his rear by deleting emails and making use of FOIA delays, and that he would soon need to train himself to use only Gmail, and that he appreciated Conspirator 1 was sensitive to that. The frickin' shade. Oh my goodness. On or about May 16th, Morans emailed Conspirator 1 in an article about Morans was drafting in part to benefit Conspirator 1 and Company 1, stating, we all agree we want to keep off of any wait. Highly educated person. We all agree that we want to keep off of it any fingerprints of you. Honestly, I'm not sure. Who knows? North Carolina scientists in Company 1 were Grant colleagues. Moritz concluded by stating, I need to keep this off government email and government phone text. And why is that, sir? And now we know why he's the first one to get indicted. Directing people to a Gmail account from a government account just opens up the Gmail account to FOIA, right? Just like Proctor with his personal versus work phone. That would be a Gouveia question. But that definitely opens a discovery to your Gmail from a lawsuit standpoint. And like I said, not a lawyer, but if you're mentioning moving things to a Gmail account in a government email, that in a discovery setting, that would leave that Gmail open to discovery because if there's nothing shady going on, why would they care? And that's my thing. If there's nothing shady going on, why are people scared of accountability and transparency? If you're not doing anything shady, it's almost like text messages. When someone DMs you, if you would not show your significant other someone's DMs that they sent you, is that shady? It's you know what I mean? Like, it may not be wrong, but it seems shady when you're trying to keep things away from people. Even if it's completely innocent behavior or it has completely innocent intentions, the appearance of shadiness is where you go wrong. Oh my goodness. July 2nd, Moran sent an email from his NIH account to his Gmail account with the subject co-conspirator 1 in Outlook. Delete or send to Gmail. And he can't even type it all the way out. On or about July 3rd, Moran submitted and caused the submission of a scientific commentary to a prominent medical journal for publication. that advocated COVID-19 emerged from nature and not a lab. This is why people don't trust doctors, because this originated from the top, and now you're in a medical journal. You're published in a medical journal where people generally take that peer-reviewed, you're important, you're good to go. Okay, letting other half read your DMs. Would you let the I mean, I don't have a problem with it, but I mean, we don't, but it's one of those things of like, wouldn't have an issue with it. Nothing on my phone is secret. You know? Then read your journal. My journal's a little different, but that's therapy. It's my therapy, so that's different. The piece was authored by Morans and was intended to benefit Company 1 and Conspirator 1. I'm actually going to look up that journal because I think I know what journal they're talking about. I could be wrong, but it might be the New England Journal of Medicine. But if it was authored by Morans, it's probably not that hard to find. Intended to benefit Company 1 and Co-Conspirator 1. And this is why you got to take even research with a grain of thought. Yeah, they're still both private. Like, we don't look at each other's stuff, but like, I wouldn't have a problem. I wouldn't be ashamed of anything if, that kind of a thing. Yeah. Yeah, and that's a story for another stream, really. But like, if I were to go, here you go, there's nothing on here that I would be scared of, kind of a situation. We don't, because we respect each other, but it, in the sense of like, he has the code to my phone and I have the code to his, and I just don't, Yeah, DM and journals are a bit different, but it's related to the job and job phone or device, then they're open to be scrutinized and requested for cases. Yeah. Bye. Have a great day, Heidel. Hugs to you. Yeah, there's a difference between what we actually do and what we would do if asked. So, big difference there. On or about August 27th, 2020, learning that NIH had awarded a $7.5 million grant to Company 1, and the same EIDRC grant that conspirators had been concerned might be affected by the termination of the bat coronavirus grant. And the fact that bat coronavirus grant keeps being mentioned is very interesting. Whoever wrote this wanted this to be read multiple times. Morans emailed Conspirator 1 from his NIH email account stating, do I get a kickback? Too much effing money? Do I deserve it all? Let's discuss. You what? You what? In response, on or about August 28th, Co-Conspirator 1 emailed Morans at his Gmail account stating part, of course there's a kickback. It starts with 5 more years of FOIA requests. I just hope it doesn't culminate in 5 years in federal jail. The fact that was put in an email, they knew they were fucking up, and they didn't care. November 19th, 2020, an email with the subject line, attacks Company 1 continue. Conspirator 1 wrote Morans in 2, stating in part, David, I'm using your Gmail address to keep you out of the FOIA target. Just wanted you to know that we're still under attack here at Company 1. The U.S. Right to Know anti-GMO, anti-vax group associated with organicconsumers.org FOIA'd NIH for our emails and grants. NIH refused. Now they've sued. I wonder why they sued. February 23rd, 2021, Morans and the co-conspirators exchanged emails under the lines briefing senior NIAID official 1, where Conspirator 2 told Morans Pay attention to the email address you use, stating if you get FOIA'd and have to respond, it will have conspirator 1 and of lesser importance, me on the correspondence. The less we provide the enemy, the better. And the fact that they're calling people who just want transparency and information about the origins of where this virus came from, the enemy, is very interesting. It's very interesting. It speaks to the psychology of how the government and government officials view the average person in the country, view the average citizen. Think about that and try to sleep at night. February 24th, 2021, Morin's emailed co-conspirator 1 and 2 under the subject line, briefing senior official 1, stating in part, I've learned from our FOIA lady here, how to make emails disappear after I'm FOIA'd, but before the search starts, so I think we're all safe. Plus, I deleted most of those earlier emails after sending them to Gmail. Remember, from the very beginning, the emails are a 7-year time frame. So, yes, one of the things, if I don't trust the government, I don't trust government at all, including prosecutors. However, and we all know my complete and total disdain for 90% of lawyers. But this is probably the biggest quote in this entire document. I learned from our FOIA lady how to make emails disappear after I am FOIA'd, but before the search starts. Massive, massive screw up on his part. These are allegations, so this is not 100% proven, but taking this indictment at face value, that's a big one. What do y'all think of that? Because I have no words. This could become headlines, viral clips, congressional talking points. That quote right there. That makes me want to see what the FOIA lady has to say for herself. Ooh. But the theme getting beyond that overarches all of this is Gmail use, private phones. They're avoiding NIH systems purposely with the intent of avoiding FOIA, and they say it. We're going to go into this in a later date because we will not be able to get to that point today. No, I think the media doesn't want anything to fucking do with this. Where I love talking about shit like this because whenever I get to see government officials who think they're above the law be held accountable for their shady actions, and I get to actually see their shady actions in legal documents, I get happy. It makes me smile. I love it. I love exposing the bullshit. I love it. We will talk about this specific page and this specific part later because I made graphics. However, we will not be able to get to it at this time because we are almost an hour and 40 minutes. We will make it through this entire document and then I have to go to work. So I'm February 25th. emailed co-conspirator 1 and 2 stating the senior official 1 received a huge FOIA yesterday seeking any and all documents, emails that mention the words Wuhan Institute or WIV. Your names will not show up in this FOIA, at least not from my info. What? June 17th, 2021. In an email with subject line confidential within our small group, please. Co-conspirator 1 and 2, another stating he received a production request from 5 U.S. senators about some of the issues we've been dealing with over the past year, focusing on the origins of COVID-19, the termination of the major SARS-CoV-virus grant, and related issues. Morans added that he retained very few documents on these matters and continues to request that correspondence on sensitive issues be sent at my Gmail. Dude, you should have at least gotten a Proton mail. I mean, really, how stupid can you be? Once again, proving just because you have a high degree of book smarts, you have no street smarts. None whatsoever. Touche. Touche. On or about October 5th, another email warns co-conspirator 1 that a FOIA picked up an email that he had sent about official 1. Morans wrote, I deleted that email, but now I learned that every email I've ever got sent since 1998 is captured and will be turned over whether I instantly delete it. Gmail, phone, text, I need to scrupulously rely on those exclusively. You didn't realize... Stupid is as stupid does. Oh my God. Oh, trying to keep my sarcasm up keeps me from going nuts. Yes. Yeah, I appreciate that. Because this is like, how stupid can you be? Like, I don't advocate for doing any of this shit. But if you are going to be this fucking stupid, don't put it in an email. Apparently they are. Apparently they are that fucking dumb. They are stupid. October 6th, conspirator 1 emailed Morans and conspirator 2 and others to warn them about prior emails that were either sent to or received from the NIH account that could become public because FOIA requests. The email had the subject line, first batch of emails with David Morans at NIAID address might have been FOIA'd. Co-conspirator 1 attached 27 emails and wrote in the body of the emails, David's NIH email address was FOIA'd and they're pulling out emails to me or senior official 1 about Wuhan. You are in some of these. We're starting to use David's email address in April 2020 around the time of the cancellation of our grant, but some slipped through the net as expected. There is some embarrassing stuff in there. Most heinous is some details of what happened with the NIH cancellation, can't spell, and what my response to that was and how you helped me shape it. If these emails are with reporters, they'll use them to create stories as per above, and with headlines like powerful cabal of scientists from within NIH help draft anti-lab leak narrative. Well, you just wrote the headline for my next stream. Thank you very much, you dumb shit. But I appreciate the content. Your stupidity is content for me. Thank you very much. How many people in here doesn't know you type it? It is said in cement. Yeah. Yeah. And co-conspirator 1 is suspected WIV may have continued GOF work outside of NIH grant. Interesting. October 6, 2021, conspirator 1 sent Morans and conspirator 2 and others an email with the subject second batch of emails possibly FOIA'd. This email had approximately 34 prior emails. So this idiot not only said that there was a second batch of emails that were FOIA'd, he attached all the emails to this email. knowing not understanding that if they ever got caught, all of those emails would be easily discoverable. It's like, why are you stupid? Like, why are you attaching? Like, this is how not to break the law 101. Conspirator 1 identified the emails that may cause issues for the co-conspirators if they were disclosed to the public via FOIA, including an email that Conspirator 1 described as continuing the story that we working in a cabal to orchestrate stuff. Conspirator 1 concluded by stating, I will massively increase my scrutiny of all emails that come from David or CC him to make sure the NIH address is replaced by his Gmail from now on. Really important. October 27th, 2021, Morin's emailed Conspirator 2 about his efforts to keep emails away from FOIA, stating, I just want to let you know I'm working with our IT guys to get a fix where my Gmail no longer gets on my government phone or computer. And that, so far, seems that my phone and my Gmail are fairly safe. Yeah, this is like teens videoing themselves busting up mailboxes. It's just so stupid. Morin then asked Conspirator 2, let Conspirator 1 know I'm following events and will stay in touch with him through you. October 27th, Morin's emailed Conspirator 2 stating it's probably safe for you to contact me on Gmail, but if there's anything sensitive about Senior Official 1, it's best to use the phone. It took you guys a year to figure out. Okay. It took them almost 2 years from January of 2020 to October 27th of 2021 to finally figure out that you should probably use the phone when talking about sensitive information. Are you fucking stupid? These are people who literally thought they were above the law. This is the definition of what you do when you think you are above the law. Because you continue to do stupid things like this, not thinking you will ever have to face consequences. October 27th, in a note to himself, Morin's emailed NIH account a contentless email with the subject line, Gmail signature remove NIH. Stupid. On or about November 18th, 2021, he emailed Conspirator 2 declaring Gmail is now safe from FOIA and hacking on all of my devices, and that it should be safe to communicate safely with you, Conspirator 1, and others, as long as you use my private Gmail. Morin's added, please pass this on to Conspirator 1. I ask that you both that nothing gets sent to me except to my Gmail, and make sure that what gets sent to my Gmail doesn't have a CC to another government employee who could be FOIA'd. Duh. On or about December 7th, 2021, in an email with the subject line, Conspirator 1 and the Salem Witch Trials, Morin's emailed the chair of Company 1 board to put in a word for Conspirator 1 and the Company 1 team, and reminded the recipients of the email to keep all communications like this on private email so they can't be retrieved via FOIA. Dumb. September 15th and September 18th, 2022, co-conspirator 1 and 2 and others participated in an email exchange regarding a FOIA request pre-disclosure notification contact. Conspirator 1 anticipated headlines that might come from public disclosure of emails, such as leading scientists conspire to undermine investigation into lab leak theory via back channel to Senior Official 1. The use of Morin's Gmail account. Morin's and the co-conspirators used the Gmail account create, conceal federal records, including to pass non-public NIH information, and to back channel information to Senior Official 1, as set forth below. Except where specifically indicated, all the following emails were sent from or received by Morin's at his Gmail. April 28th, 2020. Conspirator 1's Chief of Staff of 2 internal non-public NIH records, and a NIAID COVID-19 implementation plan. The record was marked for official use only on every page and identified, among other things, COVID-related research. A second record, Morin's email was titled SARS-CoV-2 Research Updates. Each page of this document was also marked for official use only. January 21st, 21. Conspirator 1 emailed, please ask official 1 to ask the U.S. Secretary of State to send me an email with the information in it, and I'll share it with the World Health Organization team. Conspirator 1 asked Warrens to please get the message to official 1, and that the only way to really understand the risk of these viruses and to protect the planet against the next COVID has to be working with our China counterparts. That's like Scooby-Doo, all those pesky kids. Those pesky emails. I would have gotten away with it if it weren't for those pesky emails. At the time, Conspirator 1 was in China on a World Health Organization mission to investigate the origins of COVID-19. Conflict of interest, maybe? Conspirator 1 was the only U.S. member on the mission. I like how they added this. Like, if you didn't know who this was, here's another Googleable fact, and you can probably look it up. February 16th, 2021, Conspirator 1 emailed Morans and Conspirator 2 in hopes Morans might whisper in official 1's ear or smooth the right passage regarding the reinstatement of the coronavirus grant. On February 21st, 2021, Conspirator 1 emailed Morans stating it was a very good idea rebriefing Senior 1 official, that he would offer to brief Senior 1 official and the senior staff before briefing the COVID group. Just more of this. Like, Conspirator 1 wrote the Nobel laureate was speaking out about the abuse of funding the system for political gain, and the Nobel laureate wanted to reach out to official 1 by email, but obviously that's difficult these days, and that he was hoping Morans would make sure an email from the Nobel laureate to official 1 would be read. Conspirator 1 concluded the email by stating, I will now exit the conversation because my clear conflict of interest. March 29th, Morans made edits to comments of co-conspirator 1's written response to the 2 letters the NIH Deputy Director for Extramural Research had sent about Company 1's coronavirus grant. Morans was aware that the letter would be read by the NIH Deputy Director for Extramural Research and possibly others, stating this will probably be read by them, but will perhaps be leaked and read by many others. Below is one of the comments Morans made to strengthen the letter for the benefit of co-conspirator 1 and his company. Oh my goodness. In this paragraph, you might say that the lab was built under International Safety Engineering Standard, adheres to international safety practice standards indicated by BMBL, and the lead Wuhan Institute staff were trained in the safety of the U.S. by a known authority running the BSL-4 lab at the University of Texas Medical Branch in Galveston. You might say that despite the claim one individual, no safety concerns are known to have been alleged by others, including safety experts. This is just, this is eye-opening. April 11th, 21, Conspirator 1 submitted and caused the submission of the written response, incorporating Morans' edits. Conspirator 1 did not disclose that Morans participated in drafting the letter. April 21st, Morans and Conspirator 1, with copies to others, exchanged emails regarding Zoom meeting with official 1 tomorrow. In the body of the email, Morans described various topics relating to the meeting, what info or docs Conspirator 1 would or would not want to share, and issues senior official 1 would be concerned about, including the possibility the NIH-funded scientists or other esteemed scientists are in cahoots with politicians wanting to attack him or not. It's just dumb. Like, this just shows the swamp is deep. Let's put it that way. Like, whether you hate a certain president or not, the government in general and as a whole and the bureaucrat swamp is deep. And remember, these people in emails referred to people wanting transparency and FOIA requests as the enemy. So if you want transparency, they see you as the enemy. Remember that. Remember that when you go vote. It might be best to connect you two in an off-the-record manner because we're getting FOIA nonstop. So it's most important that official one not have anything on the record that could come back to bite. Yes, remember all of this when you go vote, because these people see you as the enemy. These people are not to be trusted. And there are people who blindly trust the government without asking questions. Oh, they're the government. They have my... No, they don't. They have their own pockets, money. They do not give two flying Fs about the average person. Especially when you on that government pension and you're getting government money. April 21st, 2021, email Morans regarding the Zoom meeting with Senior Official 1, Co-Conspirator 1 told Morans, please feel free to share any docs that I've sent to you with Official 1. Hopefully you can do that in a way that avoids FOIA. And if not possible, just show him stuff on the screen, share on Zoom. Conspirator 1 attached a document titled Political Actions Regarding Company 1's Work on Coronavirus. October 24th, 21. Another email to Morans and Co-Conspirator 2 and Company 1 Chief of Staff with the subject line draft response to the NIH Deputy Director. Please review. Conspirator 1 wrote that he was trying to rapidly respond to the NIH Deputy Director for research letter, as well as the NIH Principal Deputy Director's public statement that Company 1 failed to comply with reporting restrictions. In connection with that coronavirus grant, Conspirator 1 attached several documents, including a letter titled Response to the Deputy Director for Extramural Research. Conspirator 1 finished the email by saying, David, I'll send some bullets for you to pass on to Official 1 later on. Yeah, it's the lesser of two evils at this point. However, it is the lesser of two evils. Like, yeah. This is where term limits come in, because the problem is with term limits is they have to vote on their own term limits. So what you need to do is you need to get an entirely new batch of congressmen, like brand new, people who are still like, you know, fresh, have green in their eyes, want to do the right thing before they get corrupted, and have them vote on it then. And then it's too late before they get corrupted. You know, not like I've thought this out or anything. Yeah. Yeah, as much as they try to portray transparency, there is none. Corrupt in all government. Lord knows we in Canada have many scandals as related to this. Yeah, it's... like, I honestly think Canada's worse because at least we have the opportunity to FOIA shit here. I don't know if you guys do. So, like, you know, and yeah, I have opinions, but you know, yeah, you know, so more emails. Conspirator 2 wrote, I just spent some time on the phone with David. He's concerned about the privacy of text. Another message from his cell phone to you and me, because he has been using a government phone, which permits personal conversations as well. So even things via Gmail sent and received on his cell phone could be FOIA-able. Took y'all 2 years to figure that out. Conspirator 2 then communicated Morton's edits and suggestions to Conspirator 1's draft letter. First, on the timeline to make it more specific with dates and details. It's really important in being sure he is well informed, acknowledges the timeline, the communications you mentioned, and is on board because he certainly will be questioned. He will certainly be questioned. He also suggested that you discuss with him the need for NIH to check their records to confirm when documents were filed and acknowledged, and that you were aware that it was necessary to file the 5-year report system shut you out, and you presumed that it was a normal process as you were then in the new grant year. Just... I don't think so. And when people try to do, it takes forever to get them. Depends on who's wanting them. So it seems. I do need to get better at learning how to FOIA. I'm so bad at it. I'm so bad at it, but I have so many things that I want to know. I wish we would get a young president in office, maybe even a woman one, and not have old as the ones we have. They're too old to handle the job. I don't know if it's so much the president. I think it's the people in Congress who have been there. The if I'm understanding the founding fathers correctly, they never put term limits into the Constitution. It's the one big fault I have of them. Because back in their day, you had a job, you went to Congress to serve your country, to serve the people, and then you went home and went back to your life. It was almost like being in the military where you did your time and then you got out and you went back to your life. You didn't make a career out of being a politician. They didn't anticipate the fact that these people would be in comas and still be in Congress. October 26, 21, Conspirator 1 submitted and caused the submission of a letter to the Deputy Director of Extramural Research containing Warren's suggestions, including the explanation for why Company 1 failed to timely submit its 5-year report in connection with the bat coronavirus grant. Co-conspirator 1 provided and promised to provide Morans with illegal gratitudes. This to me is like, that's a good point too. People were lucky to live till age 65. Term limits were not needed. I've thoughts on that, but they're not YouTube appropriate. Of what we oh hell no. I'll tell you to go vote Mo for president. I told her I asked to be her campaign manager. Yeah. June 11th, 2020. Let's win this anti-science battle, get you refunded and Uber funded, and then settle scores and kick some ass. Yeah. This right here. And that right there too. I only want a woman president if being a woman isn't put forth as an issue. I want a good president, and if it happens to be a woman, then fine. That's the thing. Like, yeah, that's yeah. All right. June 25th, Conspirator 1 gave Morans 2 bottles of the Prisoner Red Napa Valley wine from Bounty Hunter Rare Wine and Spirits, which was delivered to Morans residents in Maryland. This is the first of what I hope will be a continued series of expressions of gratitude for your service, support, behind-the-scenes shenanigans in my battle against your boss's boss, and his boss, and the ultimate boss on the Hill. It takes courage and commitment to do what you've done, given your job, and the vindictive nature of the administration. Right here, they're making medicine political. This, from June 25th of 2020, they made, and I'm pretty sure they felt political long before that, but they made medicine political. Hey, Zach, I worked out today. I did more Murph prep, ran a mile, and then did rounds of Cindy, 5, 10, 15 for 15 minutes. I ran a mile without stopping. I'm slower than anything, but I did do it without stopping. I'm eternally grateful for that and hope I will be able to return the favor one day. In the meantime, cheers. So his response was, now I'm actually going to have to do something to deserve it. Let me think. Writing scientific commentary that outlines the importance of what Conspirator 1 and others have been doing, but without mentioning Conspirator 1 or the grant termination. Just so dumb. Like, why would you write this shit down? June 26, 2020, Conspirator 1 emailed Morans at his Gmail account, promising additional things of value. Didn't consider this my phase 2 gift. Phase 3 might actually involve a meal. The Michelin-starred restaurants are opening in Paris, DC, and New York. Will do eventually. Holy faye. July 3rd, 2020, Morans submitted and caused the submission of a scientific commentary to a prominent medical journal for publication. that advocated COVID-19 emerged from nature and not from a lab. I can't wait to go searching for that. Morris was listed as an author on the commentary. We talked about that a little earlier. Just on or about October 6th of 2021, second batch of emails. We heard about that earlier. I believe if the wine has a value of $20 or less, that's fine. And counts 2 and 3. Destruction, altercation, falsification of records, and federal investigations. David Morans knowingly altered, destroyed, mutilated, concealed, covered up, falsified a record, document, and tangible object as identified below, with intent to impede, obstruct, and influence the investigation and proper administration of the Federal Records Act and FOIA Act. Or FOIA. I just did what I hate, when people go FOIA Act, when Act is the last letter. My apologies. Yes, they never thought they'd be caught because they think they are above the law. Because and this goes back to, they refer to people who wanted to FOIA them or FOIA any information as the enemy. So if you want transparency, they refer to you as the enemy. They think they are better than you. And this goes back to my whole psychological thing of when someone thinks they're the smartest person in the room and that they're better than you and they're above the law, they do things that will eventually get them caught because they think there are no repercussions for their actions. Because they think they are smarter, better, stronger, whatever. So they think they are above the law. So approximate date, email correspondence to Morans and co-conspirator 1 and others related to Morans' official government business. And October 24th of 2021, email correspondence among Morans, co-conspirator 1, 2, and others related to official government business. This should be an interesting, he did plead not guilty to this. It is in the documents. Some of the documents are sealed. Some of them may be unsealed. We will continue to follow this and actually read the documents because that's what I do. Yeah. That right there is a really good point. No way should someone who has no money before getting elected become a millionaire on a $174K salary. Yeah, that's a very, very true statement. Counts 4 and 5, concealment, removal, or mutilation of records relating to the same things. Email correspondence on April 21st, 2021 and October 24th, 2021. So this was signed by Kelly O'Hayes, U.S. Attorney. And thank goodness they redacted the signature of the foreperson, so I didn't have to. On that note, we do have some final thoughts about this. This is not a one and done stream. I have more information and I want to talk more about why FOIA is important, what the FOIA or Federal Records Act does. Also, we will be keeping an eye on this and this case. We will also be keeping an eye on what the congressional hearings, because there's a lot of them, and I have been watching some of them. I have not been watching all of them. In my defense, life has been busy. But everything goes back to public trust in our government, not blindly trusting anybody unless you've seen things. And you just have to take things with a grain of salt until they can be proved. And remember, when someone says you're anti-science just because you actually want to see the science, if they attack you for being anti-science when all you want to do is see the proof, that's not a you problem. That is a them problem. And you just keep doing you and keep asking questions, because science is not about having a set answer. Science is about asking questions and things evolving as we get more information. And if you didn't take anything away from this stream, think about this. They called people doing FOIA requests the enemy. I cannot stress to you enough that if scientists and people who are supposed to be about the science refer to people wanting transparency and asking questions as the enemy, who else in the government and what other bureaucrats are referring to the average citizen who wants information and asks questions as the enemy? These people are not your friends. They are not to be trusted. And we need to keep questioning everything. That is not to be a conspiracy and say just because they are the government that they are 100% lying. But it's just like anything else in life. Trust, but verify. And with that, guys, I have to get going. I have to get to work, and I will see you guys on the next one. Tomorrow, we have a members only stream doing Timu Law School. We will watch a couple of clips from lawyers that we wonder how they got to be where they are. And with that, I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye.